John McCain can't buy a break as he continues to try to put daylight between himself and President Bush. First, McCain flip-flops on his opposition to the 27-year-old moratorium on the drilling along the U.S. coastlines. Tonight, the breaking news that Mr. Bush will demand tomorrow that Congress do the exact thing. So in our fourth story in the countdown, suddenly the juxtaposition is Senator Obama standing with the man who won a Nobel Peace Prize for his work on climate change, and Senator McCain standing with President Bush and big oil. Just 20 hours after former Vice President Gore endorsed Senator Obama, touting his environmentally conscious energy policy in front of a Detroit audience, Senator McCain stood up in front of a Texas crowd to announce his own energy policy, boasting of his commitment to alternative energy and renewable fuels, a commitment that has not been reflected necessarily in his Senate voting record, while reversing his 2000 campaign stance against lifting the federal ban on offshore drilling, turning out to be something of a warm-up act for Mr. Bush, and now saying it should be up to the states to decide whether to explore for oil off America's coastline.
As for offshore drilling, it's safe enough these days that not even Hurricanes Katrina and Rita could cause significant spillage from the battered rigs off the coasts of New Orleans and Houston. We have proven oil reserves of at least 21 billion barrels in the United States. But a broad federal moratorium stands in the way of energy exploration and production. And I believe it is time for the federal government to lift these restrictions and to put our own reserves to use.
Senator Obama quick to point out that offshore drilling will have little to no effect on the current price of gas.
The biggest problem with John McCain's position is that it seems like a classic Washington political solution, which is to go out there and make a statement without any clear evidence that this would result in strengthening the U.S. economy or providing relief to consumers.
Joining us now, our own Jonathan Alter, senior editor of Newsweek magazine. John, thanks for coming in tonight.
Hi, Keith.
So once again, McCain's chances, all the polling says it's one thing principally: separate yourself from President Bush. So this morning he reverses course, at least an 8-year position on offshore drilling. Tonight the president insists on offshore drilling. He's going to take it to Congress tomorrow. Was McCain knowingly Bush's stalking horse on this, or is it a total coincidence?
No, it's kind of synchronized flip-flopping with Charlie Crist, the governor of Florida, who also flip-flopped on this. So now they're in league with the boss. The president is going to come out, and they're going to try to throw the onus on Congress to make Congress seem like it's standing in the way of reducing gas prices. But you have to accept that the oil companies are telling the truth when they say that this will somehow result in lower prices at the pump, when it takes many years for, some people say as long as 10 years, for the result of this offshore drilling to turn up. And actually, if you look at the pricing by oil companies, what they usually do is leave the the drilling, the leases kind of vacant until they can make big money. So they don't pump a lot when in order to keep prices low. They pump a lot in order to exploit high prices, so it's no coincidence, for instance, that ExxonMobil last quarter reported the largest profits of any company in world history. And Obama has now flip-flopped on his previous opposition support for
McCain has.
McCain has flip-flopped on his previous support for a windfall profits tax. So now he wants to give them even more profits, as if that's going to somehow lead to more exploration.
Yeah, that cheering, the cheering there at the end of that clip was not from people who were saying, oh, the price of gas is going to go down. It was from people who were cheering because the price of gas is going to stay the same or go up. That was the point of that.
Well, yeah, and the idea here is sort of wrong on so many different levels. I mean, you also heard McCain saying that there was no environmental threat during the hurricanes because of supposedly these newfangled drilling apparatus on the continental shelf. It's true that it is better, it is safer than it once was, but we've had 80 spills in the last few years. The idea that there's no environmental threat is simply wrong, and that's why so many Republicans in states like Florida and California have also been against drilling out there.
So, and now they've added a security aspect to this, which I'm sure the president, maybe the president will touch on this. Did you know China is drilling off the coast of Cuba? I mean, Sean Hannity told me this is true. Gene Schmidt, the congresswoman of Ohio, told me this is true. Is it true? Do we have to start embargoes? Do we have to start saying Cuba?
Well, they got that from Dick Cheney.
Oh, of
You'll
course.
be shocked to learn. And he had to issue a statement saying that it was untrue.
Oh, then I guess Gene Schmidt and Sean Hannity didn't get that.
They didn't get the memo.
One thing I am stumped politically on the other side of things. How does Al Gore sell Barack Obama and alternative energy in Michigan?
Well, I think what this is about, first of all, Gore is more popular in Michigan than people realize. He carried it in 2000. And also, Obama needs some shoring up there because he wasn't able to campaign there during the primaries. But the third reason to do it in Michigan is that Obama uses as a talking point that he can tell hard truths to interest groups. And so he says pretty much all over the country, when I talk about higher fuel economy, I do it in Michigan to show that he's independent and willing to stand up to special interests. So I think he wanted to reinforce that. And besides, you know, the oil companies, the auto companies have gotten some religion on the environment lately, and I don't think we'll respond too badly to this message.
Yeah, that's where the next profit is. Jonathan Alter of Newsweek and MSNBC, as always, many thanks.
Thanks, Keith.